Come to you first, Dr. Skinner in London. Now, tell me about the severity, the magnitude of this medical problem. How deadly is this virus, and how real the threat?
We don't yet know how deadly it is. We really have so relatively few cases outside of Mexico at the moment, which have been documented and well documented, whereas the situation in Mexico is unclear, simply because it being the point of outbreak, of course. It's likely that many cases occurred and were maybe relatively mild before we realized that we were dealing with a potential pandemic situation. So because of that, it's not clear how severe this disease is going to be in terms of its mortality. Its ability to spread seems fairly self-evident, although even there we need to know more information, and that will become apparent in coming days and weeks as we see how much it spreads into countries where it has been introduced.
But Dr. Skinner, I'm obviously not a medical expert nor a scientist, but then what happened in a matter of a few days that the WHO raised the alert status bar a couple of degrees higher from level or phase 2 to phase 5? There must be some clear and evident reason for that?
There are clear criteria for each of the stages. What one you have to remember is that here, when we're talking about pandemic, the main definition is its ability to spread. It's not definitely tied in with the disease that it causes. And in this case, it was shown to move up to a 5, which occurred last night, required evidence of sustained transmission in 2 countries in one region. And Mexico and US, the situation there qualified to raise it up to a 5.
And Alex Jones, now tell me about the immediate dimensions to this issue. Now, have, in your sense, the issue, the threat, been blown out of proportion, exaggerated in some sort?
Well, we're not sure at this time, and I agree with much of what the doctor just said. I've interviewed 6 different doctors, several virologists, myself, since last Friday when we began covering this in earnest. And here's what we know. 35,000 Americans die on average a year. As many Mexicans die of just the normal seasonal flus that come from the east. And then we have the flu season that just ended a month ago. So it's very rare to have a new flu this time of year coming out of the Western Hemisphere. Then we even have the fact that it's multiple bird RNA, human RNA, pig RNA. They're saying some other RNA in there. A lot of bioweapons experts and others are in the international media saying this looks like a designer virus. Wayne Madsen, who worked with the National Security Agency, been in the press interviewing members of who have degrees in virology, doctorates, saying it looks like it's engineered. So later I would like to ask the doctor that. But let me get this out to people. I'm in Texas, and just south of me is where they had the first Texas outbreaks. And I know high-level school administrators, known to me personally, who yesterday gave me secret documents reporting that they're really at a level 6. Now, they told me a day and a half ago we were really at level 5 before they announced it. Level 6 is complete and total martial law. So I hope this isn't a deadly virus. I hope it doesn't have 40 to 50% infection rate of people that come in contact with it. In fact, they have the terms here in the document. The clinical attack rate is 40 to 50%. They're saying people are really on ventilators all over Texas, and that it's far worse. So Biden's saying don't get on planes, don't get on subways. The vice president is basically saying what this secret document is saying, that's now up on prisonplanet.com. So the government in its actions and the Mexican government has shut down the government. They're acting like it's the end of the world, but they did that with SARS. They did that with other things. So this may just be hype to sell vaccines and Tamiflu. Go ahead.
All right, now back to you in London, Dr. Skinner. Now, the other guest was purporting that there is an engineered crisis in the offing, that this virus just might happen to be a syncretic and synthetically made virus and the outbreak as well. Now, do you have any scientific argument to rebut that or debunk that?
I don't think it needs particularly a scientific argument. It's well known that flu changes, mutates from year to year, from season to season. You can begin to track down, even at this stage, with relatively, having had relatively little time to study the virus, the sequence of events which has probably taken place over almost a decade to get to the stage that we're at now. And one has to say, and let's face it, the same argument was made many years ago about the origins of HIV, that it was a genetically engineered virus. And in both cases, you have to say that given that we don't really understand the pathogenicity of this present virus, how pathogenic it will be, what might contribute to its particular nature,
Dr. Skinner, with great respect, I beg to differ, Dr. Skinner, and this is still keeping with you. Now, is it not true that in the past, 30-odd years ago, there was this hoax of the flu scare in the States? I suppose it was in 1976, and this, in all intellectual rigor, brings in the question that some people put to you guys as scientists, that how trustable are these procedures?
Yeah, I'd like to comment.
Logically speaking, in terms of identifying, determining an epidemic.
Well, I would like...
Sorry, yeah.
The scientific procedures that you are familiar with,
Well, we know governments have engineered bioweapons. We know about...
This is Dr. Skinner.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir, Doctor.
Sorry, can you place your question?
The question was, in the past, in 1976, the American authorities clearly bungled up a crisis of sorts in terms of saying to the people that there is a pandemic of flu, and then it turned out to be mistaken. Now,
it was a hoax.
Idea scientifically that it won't be the case this time round.
We would be pleased if it were. There was what happened. I seem to remember, and it was many years ago, even in my scientific career, was that in '76 that they discovered again a swine flu in the US, and that seemed to be causing problems. It came out of an army camp, and I don't think there was any issue.
Yeah, it always does. I'd like to comment on this.
It was an army camp.
Now, let me hold you there, Doctor. I'm going to get back to you in just a bit. Alex Jones, you had something to say. Go ahead. Jump in.
Yes, we are up on the swine flu epidemic. We have the government fear-mongering ads they ran on TV posted up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. They said it was going to kill millions. They said they had to vaccinate the entire American people. Gerald Ford did. And then the vaccine started killing so many people, giving them autoimmune disease and killing them. They had to stop it. Just like bird flu trials they just had this year and last year in Europe had to get suspended because it killed so many people. London Telegraph, BBC, French news agency have all reported that. We had black men given syphilis and allowed to die over it over 45 years in Alabama. We had 4,000 plus U.S. foster children taken from their parents and radiated to death in secret test. The first 1918 broke out at a U.S. military base as part of a vaccination program. I have that from the Boston Globe, Cicero 1918. I have all of these documents. The last swine flu in 1918, I meant to say, and then the last swine flu in 1976 broke out there at a military base. So it's the same thing over and over and over again. I'm saying we have to look. We have to look at the companies.
Stop you there for a second. I'd like you to elaborate for viewership the evidences, the proof that you have so gathered to back up your argument. Where are they from? Sources.
Well, let me be clear. I'm not saying this is a government attack. I'm not saying that we know that right now. It could be a real mutated flu, like he just said, but it's the fact that it came out of nowhere and they weren't tracking anything similar to it. As he said, it would take years for it to mutate like this. This just came screaming out of nowhere. The only place we see something similar to this is in the hundreds of big biotech labs where they're basically cloning.
Let's get back to you in a little while. Doctor, again to you. Now,
it's the vaccine labs. It's where it probably came from.
To help me out with the political and socio-economic dimensions